Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Lynn, and today I'm going to demonstrate 3 recipes for my cookbook, Plant-Based Recipes and Meal Options. The first one I'm going to show you is a very simple recipe to make something that's very similar to Parmesan cheese, and I call it the seasoned almond topping. It's on page 215, and if you have a small food processor, you can use a large one, but I have this nice small one. And I am going to add 1 cup of raw sliced almonds to it. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast flakes. I'm going to add a teaspoon of onion powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal that's ground. Just going to grind it up for about 30 seconds. This has a chop and a grind, so I kind of go back and forth. And all it's doing is chopping up the almonds, and they chop to a consistency that is very similar to little pieces of Parmesan cheese. So the almonds have a very chewy consistency. There is some salt in here, a little bit similar to Parmesan cheese. And it's a very nice addition for the pasta recipes or anything you'd like to put it on. I like to put it on top of soups. I keep it in a refrigerator in a jar, and it's very tasty, just like you would use Parmesan cheese. So I'm going to clean this up and we'll move on to the next recipe. Be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back with the second recipe, and that one is making your own marinara sauce. Now you can buy marinara sauce. A lot of them are very, very full of sodium and other things that you may not want. This Muir Glen one is a nice one that sometimes I get and have in the pantry. You can also just get a really nice, this palmy strained tomatoes to use. My recipe is something that you just whiz up in the Vitamix and then simmer for a little bit, and then you can keep it in the freezer, in the fridge, and it's a really nice, much more economical way to make and have marinara sauce. So the first thing I'm going to put in my Vitamix is 2 garlic cloves. I have a 1/2 cup of chopped onion. I have 1 small can of tomato paste. I have 1 can of diced tomatoes. Sometimes I put less salt in it, and I will use the organic Muir Glen diced fire roasted tomatoes. I like those. I like the flavor. I like the fact that the can is BPA free. You can get no salt added tomatoes, and that's an option if you'd like. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, I put much less than a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a little organic sugar, and Mrs. Dash, basil, and oregano. Adding those, and 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. So I'm just going to blend this. Mainly you just want the garlic to be dispersed. I'm just going to put it in a pan and it up so that those flavors can meld together. And you can see that there's no oil in here. I'm just going to go and simmer it for 5 to 10 minutes, and it will just thicken and be a really nice marinara sauce. It's a wonderful combination to use with the almond topping. So I'll do that and I'll be back with a third recipe. Okay, I'm back with a third recipe, and this one is the spaghetti with mushroom tomato sauce on page 66. And it's just a basic combination of vegetables, olives, mushrooms, and tomato sauce over whole wheat spaghetti. So I have a pan here. I bought about 2 teaspoons of olive oil in it. You could use no oil if you want, just use a little bit of water or broth. I've got 4 minced garlic cloves and half a cup of onion. I'm going to saute these. For a few minutes here. And then I'm going to add the mushrooms. But while we're waiting, I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole wheat pasta I used. This is just a whole grain spaghetti pasta that Winco had. You can also get thin whole wheat spaghetti pasta. They have that brand, and then Winco has their own brand. They have a really nice organic one. This one probably came from like Natural Grocers. They even have, for other recipes, Safeway has an organic line, the whole wheat lasagna noodles. In the bulk section at Winco, for other pasta dishes, there's small little shell pastas, and there's macaroni pasta, and then there's ziti pasta, which is really nice, whole wheat. And I even found these in Winco. They're made from red lentils, so they are gluten-free, and they're like less than $2 a box, and that's really nice for Winco. So that's an option too you can try. So I'm going to add the mushrooms to this. Then I have 2 cups of sliced zucchini. I will add, and 1/4 cup of water, which will give it a little moisture. I'm going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to cook it for a few minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've cooked that about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to add 2 cans of the diced tomatoes. I like these Muir Glen ones. One can of the tomato paste. This is going to make it very thick. Then I have a teaspoon of basil, oregano, and I put hardly any salt because I used the 2 cans that had salt in it. It calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt if you want, if you use the salt-free one, so you can control the salt. Mrs. Dash lemon pepper seasoning. So I'm going to add those herbs and spices. And then I took 12 Kalamata olives, which are very salty, and I kind of slice them into small pieces. I have 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. So I'm going to just stir this up, put the lid on, and let that cook for about 5 minutes, and all the juices will come out of the vegetables, and it will make a very thick sauce for the pasta. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back, and it is hot and bubbling, and I wanted to show you how you could serve this over the whole wheat pasta. The thing I like about this recipe are the olives in it. Really make it great. You could put a little bit of my seasoned almond topping on top, so it's similar to Parmesan cheese. You could serve it with just the pasta with just the plain marinara, which we made, and add the seasoned almond topping of that. You could then top it with a little bit of fresh parsley. And there you have it. 3 of the different recipes, the seasoned almond topping and the spaghetti with mushroom and tomato sauce, and my plain marinara sauce. So hopefully this was helpful and you can try it, and we'll see you next time. Happy cooking.